right, we will go ahead and get started going over Toolbox Tuesday. This week, we will go through advanced document numbering and advanced document attachments. I have Matt from our team here as well that will be going over advanced document attachments. Okay. So before we get into the live demo, which will be here soon, we'll go through both advanced document numbering and attachments. We'll just kind of go through the agenda here. So the agenda for today's session is to go through the gaps on what these extensions are accomplishing and kind of filling inside of Business Central, the solutions with that, a live demo of Matt and myself going through both extensions, next steps, resources, and then Q&A. Feel free to pop a question in the chat of this meeting, and as we're going through, we can kind of answer as we go, or of course at the end. So the gaps. So, and again, we're reviewing two separate extensions, so I'll highlight each of them. So with advanced document numbering, right now in Business Central, there's no easy ability to sync unposted and posted document numbers. And it's a very highly requested thing for if I create a sales order and I post it, right, and I ship an invoice, I want that sales invoice, the posted version, to be the same number as my sales order. A lot of times out of box with Business Central, you'll have a sales order number, you post it, and it uses a completely different number series, which can just cause confusion. So what our tool does is syncing those up, and the sales order was just an example. We do that for really all sales documents and purchase documents, which we'll review. And then that really is the second bullet here as well. Tough to have quote, order, and invoice all sync the base number with an appended value. So what our tool does is it lets you have the same number all the way from a sales quote to the posted invoice, which is really nice, and it does the same thing on the purchasing side. And then no ability to prepend the year of the doc as the starting point for the doc number. So we'll look at how when I create a sales order in 2024, it'll start with the year 24 and then a number at the end of it for kind of quick visibility in the year it was posted. And then with advanced document attachments, these are the next three bullets are covering that one. So no convenient drag and drop to attach documents in Business Central out of box. Attached documents are stored in the internal database with Business Central with the limited gigabyte storage, and then additional storage comes at a price if you want to purchase that. So solutions here, and kind of covered these with advanced document numbering already, but being able to sync unposted and posted document numbers, ability to have sales and purchase documents sync the base number plus a sequence at the end, ability to prepend the year as the starting number. So that's where I explained that they can start with the year 24 and then have a sequence at the end of it. And then with advanced, here's one more, ability to use order number plus sequence on a transfer, order receipt, and shipments. And then for document attachments, drag and dropping anywhere with our tool, and then enhanced document listing and direct download from the fact box. Okay. So a lot of information here, but we'll actually just jump right into it here with the live demo. I'm going to start here with advanced document numbering, and then we'll switch gears, and Matt's going to go over advanced document attachment for us here. Alrighty, so sharing Business Central now, I jumped just right into the advanced document numbering setup screen here. So with this extension, it's really kind of like a one-time setup, and then you're just ready to rock and roll. There's nothing else you have to come back and do unless you want to make a change, of course. And so I'm just starting at the really one and only setup page for this tool. And we're going to start in the sales section here. You'll notice that once we review the sales section, the purchase section is very similar. It's really identical. Okay, so it'll feel familiar. So these first, there's about 5 of them here, are all really doing the same thing. So it says, choose how you want the sales quote to be generated. So I can either leave it at standard Business Central, which if I have that option selected, it will just look at the number series for sales quote, right? Let's see. Sales quote right here. So it'll just look at this number series and use standard Business Central sequencing, okay? So if that's what you'd like to use, you would set it to standard BC. However, if you want to use the year plus a digit, 4-digit number, 5-digit, etc., I can use one of these options. So what this will do is if I select year, we'll do year 6-digit. Okay, now let's go to a sales quote and I'll show you exactly what that looks like. So if I create a sales quote here, you'll notice that it has the year. So it's 24 for 2024, and then it has 6 digits behind it. Okay, so it's starting with 1. And then if I create a new one and I grab another customer, right? It's the same, but 2. So it's incrementing automatically for us. Okay. So you have the same option for, if I go back to the setup page here, all sales documents. So I could do that for sales quotes, orders, invoices, return orders, and sales credit memos. Okay. And they all have the standard BC option or the year 4 to 7 digits, just depending on how long you want that number to be. The higher the digit, the more possibility in the future. If you guys have a large volume of sales documents, you'd want it to do a higher digit number. Okay. So there's the first setup option. The next here we'll get into are pretty cool. So activate sales post shipment number. I'm going to turn that on, and these two fields are tied together. And so what this is going to do is when I post a sales shipment from a sales order, it's going to take the order number, whatever that is. So if you set it up as standard BC, that's fine. If you're using the year 7-digit number, that's fine too. It's going to take that sales order number and then add a sequence at the end of it for each shipment. So if you're doing a lot of partial shipments, this would be a great setup option for you because when you post those shipments, it'll have the sales order number, then -01, -02, -03 if you had 3 shipments. So let's look at exactly what that looks like. The other 2 options here is you could just use standard Business Central. So it'll just look at the sales shipment number series. You could just do the order number. So when you post the sales shipment, the shipment number will be exactly the order number. If you're doing partial shipments, you would not use this option. You would want to use the order number plus sequence. So all those shipments are separate numbers. So I'm going to leave it here and let's go create a sales order and look at how this works. So I'm going to go to sales order, create a new one here. Okay, you can see that my number is the year 24, and then I think I picked the 7-digit option here. So that is why that is that number. We're going to come down here and I'm just going to add in some inventory so I can do a partial ship. And we'll do 10. Okay. And I'm going to come over here to quantity to ship, and let's just ship 3 at first, okay? So I'm going to come up here to post, and we're going to do a shipment. Okay, let's go back. Shipping and supplies. Let's go down here. And let me change that to partial. Nope. Okay, and now let's try that again and see if it likes that better now that I changed that to a partial. And come up here to ship. Okay, now let's go and look at my shipment and see how the shipment number is the sales order number -01 because that was the first shipment I did. And now let's come back and we're just going to do one more shipment, and I want to show how that one will be should be -02, right? So now let's ship 3 again. I'm going to come back here and we're going to do post, ship. Okay, now let's look at that shipment again. Okay, and now that one's -02. So get the idea there. So this is great for visibility. If you're looking at your shipments and you know which order it came from, you can just simply type in the order number. And now on your posted sales shipments, it's going to show you all shipments related to that order. Without a box Business Central, this would just be a completely unique, separate number than the order number. Okay, so you really wouldn't have any idea they're tied together unless you open up that shipment, of course. Okay, so that is a great feature there that we really like here. And then kind of following that, I'll go through the rest of these here. So activate quote to order just means that when you create a sales quote and then you want to make it into an order, that order will be the same number as the quote. And so this is nice that when you create a sales quote, if that is where your sales process is starting, and then you get through the entire sales cycle, you can have the same number all the way through a sales quote to a posted sales invoice. Okay, which again, with out-of-box Business Central, it's really not going to happen. Sales order post to invoice number. And so this is kind of the same exact concept as we just showed. If I create a sales order and then I invoice that my invoice is going to have the same number as my sales order, my posted invoice. Okay. If I am doing multiple invoices, from a sales order. So I ship an invoice once and I ship an invoice again from the same order, right? Those posted invoices are going to be the sales order number plus the sequence, just like we saw with the shipment number. So it'd be the sales order number, -01, -02, etc. Okay. And again, you have different options here. You could use standard Business Central, which, they'll be separate. You could just force it to be the order number, or if you're possibly have multiple invoices per order, you would want to do the order number plus sequence. Okay. And then over here, these last options are, again, following kind of the same thing. So this one is if you're starting with a sales invoice instead, this would allow you for when you create a sales invoice and you post it, your posted sales invoice will be the same number. So let's just go look at that quick. So again, if I go to a sales invoice and I create one here quick, we'll do just a GL account. Okay, check out my invoice number here. I'm going to post it. And you can see my posted sales invoice number is the exact same number. Okay. So that is exactly what that feature is doing there. And it also does it for credit memos as well. So if you create a sales credit memo, post it, it's going to be the same number. And then lastly, if you're using sales prepayments, same thing here. So when you create the prepayment invoice and post it, is it going to be the same number as what this is indicating right here? Okay. So now looking at the purchasing section, it should feel very familiar, right? So we'll kind of do a quick review here. So we have all of the same options for the standard BC versus if you want the year plus a digit number, okay? From purchase quote, order, invoice, return order, and purchase credit memo. So that's the same exact thing as we want up here. By creating a sales quote with the digit number, you can do the same thing over here. Activate quote to order number. So again, that's if you create a purchase quote and make it into a purchase order by clicking that button, make to order, it's going to make sure that those numbers stay the same. Okay. Purchase post receipt number. So this is the exact same thing as when I created the sales order and posted multiple shipments. And those shipments were the order number plus the sequence, right? It was -01, -02, etc. This is the same thing. So if you create a PO and you're doing partial receipts, those receipts are going to have the order number plus the sequence number for you. Okay. Or you could do just the order number if you're not doing any partials. Okay. Over here, again, same thing as I showed where we created the sales invoice, posted it, and the posted sales invoice was the same number. This is the same on the purchase side. You create a purchase invoice and post it. It's going to be the same number. Okay. And then really, as you're looking at these options, you'll just kind of remember standard BC is just using the normal number series, right? Order number really should only be used if you're not doing like a partial or multiple invoices from a sales order or a purchase order, or you're not doing multiple shipments or receipts. If you're doing or could possibly do, multiple receipts or multiple shipments, you'll always want to make sure you're using the order number plus sequence to make sure those are unique. Okay. Next section down here, we have really the same thing, but from a transfer order. So activate transfer post receipt number. Okay, so these two fields are used together. I have that turned on. So now it's going to say, okay, what do we want to look at right here? Do we want to use a standard BC for a transfer receipt? Do we want to use the order number or the order number plus sequence again? So if I have multiple receipts, I'd want to use that option. And then we have the same thing over here for the shipment side. Okay. So really, once you kind of get the hang of it, they're all kind of set up the same between sales, purchasing, and transfers. Last thing here I want to show is kind of a cool miscellaneous feature we have with ship tos on the customer side, ship to addresses. So what this is the ability to auto number customer ship tos. So without this tool, Business Central ship to codes, it requires you to hand key them in. It has no number series assigned to a ship to code. So if you go and create one, you have to kind of type a manual number yourself. So what we've done is if you have this activated, it will auto generate the customer ship to code for you. And we'll look at it together, but it's going to take the customer number plus a sequence number. Okay. And then this ties really hand in hand with it. If you want to sometimes use the auto-generated number that we're going to generate for you, but you want the ability to override that if necessary, you'll want to turn this on and it'll allow you to edit that. Then lastly, this button over here, I don't have it turned on, but it is a possibility. What this will do is when you create a new ship to code, it'll automatically copy the address from the customer card. Okay, so you kind of have a starting point if you want to copy that in. So let's go look at this feature. So I'm going to go to a customer here, come down here. And if I come to ship to code, I'm going to create a new and see how that number was automatically generated for me. That's because our tool is doing that. So without our tool, this code would be blank and you would type one in. So again, it's just taking the customer number and a sequence there. So I'll put test address 1, and you can fill in the rest. And then let's create another together. I'm going to do another, and it's 02 this time, right? And here I can test address 2. Okay. So that's kind of a cool feature here that just makes the data entry a lot faster instead of having to manually type those in. Okay. So that's advanced document numbering, really all about the numbering here and just making the visibility and search capabilities a lot easier for those people working inside of Business Central. Again, the ability to have the same number from if you're starting at a sales quote or a sales order, all the way through shipments and invoices and the posted invoice at the end is really the goal there, and just make that process a lot easier for you. Okay, I'm going to stop sharing my screen and we'll switch gears, and Matt is going to go over advanced document attachments.
Awesome. Thank you, Carlie. Wait a second to get this pulled up here. My toolbar. All right. Awesome. So again, here we're going to start at the setup level. There is not a whole lot to cover. Definitely not as much as on the document numbering side. So again, here you'll just see we've got Azure Blob storage if you want it activated, and then you'll just enter that shared access key, account name, and container name that you want to save all of those documents in. Right over here in the actual Azure Blob storage portal, this is that specific container within the storage account that I'm saving my documents to. Only other thing to call out here is going to be the convert doc attached to ABS. What this will do is the first time that you download advanced document attachments, if you want your existing BC attachments to get converted to blob storage and moved out of BC to save down on that database side, you would just run that this function one time. Right. So from here, it's going to be pretty straightforward. Like Carlie said, this is going to exist anywhere in BC that you have a standard file attachment option, as well as a few additional places that we've added it. Right. So first would be on transactions. In this case, I've got my sales orders here. And you'll notice there's two different panes here. This is just from a PTE that we have installed in our demo environment. But should you install advanced document attachments, you would only see the one drag and drop and the one pane for the attachments. Right. So from here, I'll go ahead and grab whatever file I want to attach to the sales order. I used the wrong one there. Right. Quick drag and drop, and then you'll see that documents gets updated to 1 here. One really quick win, I can go ahead and download any of these attachments directly from the list view, or if I were to drill into that sales order, I would have this same fact box here. Right. So what that's doing is it's going out to Azure Blob storage and grabbing this file and then downloading it, right? So you'll notice I'm downloading it from Azure, not downloading it directly from BC, right? If I were to go into Azure Blob storage, what was the sales order number? 101004. I've got a ton of files in here, so let me do 01 101004. Well, trying to filter to find this. I've got a ton of files in here, but again, perfect. So here, some of these were from testing, but again, that file will get attached in blob storage with that sales order number here. So it looks like it was just the case sensitivity, but again, you'll see this file attached in Business Central and then available to view in blob storage, and then also available to view and download directly in BC. So again, that was on a transactional record. If I were to go to any of my master records like customers, vendors, items, again, you'll see that exact same document attachments portion here. Right, so again, I can click to download, or I can go into my documents, view everything that's been attached, and download directly from here as well. All right, and I see one question came through in the chat, and Carlie, you were able to answer that. Yep, perfect. And then really the last thing to call out here, one place in BC that doesn't allow file attachments, but we've added it, is on the company information page. So think of this as just like things that might historically be in a storage or a file cabinet somewhere, but just general overall company records that you might want to save down. You can drag and drop those and save it against this company information record here. Right. And that's really it. Very straightforward, great replacement to standard BC file attachments if you're looking to cut down on that database size. And then again, just being able to download those, although they're not in Business Central, having that reference to them to download them directly from the user interface here.
Awesome. Thank you, Matt.
Yep.
I will go ahead and
looks like Carlie got dropped there.
sorry about that. I'm back. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen here. And we will go over kind of next steps and how you can get these installed in your environment, sandbox, or production, and kind of go from there. So next steps, download a 30-day free trial. All of our extensions come with a 30-day free trial. You can install these directly in your sandbox environment, production environment there. and watch our activation video on YouTube on how to get those into your environment. So we'll send this out or put them in the link here once we get off on that activation video. Really installing from AppSource, you just generate a quick demo key there, and then you have your 30 days. Okay. Resources. So we have a product page and AppSource. So on our website, we have a product page that lists out every single extension we offer now, including the 2 that we reviewed today. And then as well as AppSource, you can find our extensions through there by looking for ERP Connect Consulting. Okay. The product page goes over summaries, screenshots, user and setup guides, as well as AppSource. We'll have those links for you as well. So with each of our extensions, we'll give a quick summary on what we're accomplishing, screenshots, and if it's a dashboard, it'll have screenshots of the dashboard or really just the capabilities in each extension. And then each extension comes with a user setup guide showing you exactly how to set it up, as well as going through scenarios. We do have a YouTube channel that we post all of our Toolbox Tuesdays there. We post walkthroughs of us going through the extensions, tips in Business Central and everything, so you can check that out. Then lastly, we have a product guide that has a fit gap analysis for every single extension, and as well as configuration and training times. So with each of our extensions, we kind of estimate how long they take to configure, as well as to train on. And we're here if you would like to need extra support with any of the extensions. Okay. That is it. I have been looking at the chat, but if we have any other questions, feel free to put them in the chat. We can stay on here for a few extra minutes if anyone has any questions, but that is it. So thanks everyone for joining our Toolbox Tuesday today. Have a great rest of your day.